Hello students, today we are on lesson 3-3 and it is multiplying by one-digit numbers. Our learning goal today, you can read it with me, is I can use strategies to multiply one-digit numbers. We are on page 89 for our solve and share, so make sure you have your workbook and a pencil. If you don't, go get them and join me on page 89. I'm going to read the problem. I want you to pause it at that time, give the problem a try, and then we'll go over the answer together. Suppose a school ordered 7 boxes of books. There are 25 books in each box. How can you use paper and pencil to find how many books were ordered? How can you check if your answer is reasonable? Solve these problems using any strategy you choose. Pause right here and make sure that you are trying to solve through this problem. Okie dokie, let's go through it. So we have 7 boxes of books and there's 25 per box. So I need to take 25, the number 25, 7 times to figure out how many books are in there total. So I have 25 and I can take it times 7. This might be a type of problem that you have done before. Maybe you set it up the standard way. I have also had students do it where they do, the 20 and the 5 and the 7. So this is really, it's distributive property when you break it down into it, but it's got a nice visual here. So we can take our 20 times 7 first, our 7 times 5, and then our final answers, we would add them together. I'm trying to think if there's another way you guys might have been shown this, but let's focus on these two. So my first one, I do 7 times 2 first to get 14. Add my 0, I have 140. 7 times 5, well, that's gonna, oh wait. No, not 40. What am I doing? Is 35. And then I can add my 140 plus my 35. 5 plus 0 is 5, 5. 3 plus 4 is 7, and my 1. So we know that there's 175 books, and this is our box method, and really box method is just like the distributive property. Okay, now we can also use our standard method. This might be another way that probably your parents did it. This is how I learned it, and it's a great way to use if it makes sense for you. So 7 times 5 is 35. I remember to circle the numbers that I'm carrying over so I don't forget about them. And so we did 7 times 5 first, and then I'm gonna do 7 times 2. Well, that's 14 plus my 3 more, 14, 15, 16, 17. So we get 175. We get 175 books either way, but whichever way works better for you is okay with me. I think the standard way goes a little bit quicker, especially as we get into bigger numbers, but if this is the way that you want to break it down, that's okay too. Okay, then it wants to know, how can we check if it's reasonable? Well, I think we could estimate to figure out if 175 is a reasonable answer. If we get a close estimation, then yeah, it's a reasonable answer. So I'm going to take 25 and 7, and we need to round. So what I am thinking, we could just round to the nearest 10 here, 10's place. So if I look at my 2, looks like we're at my 5. Well, if you think back to yesterday's assignment, 5 through 9, we add 1 more. So my 2 plus 1 gives me 3, and we zero it out. Now, because it sends in a 0, I think we can leave our 7 alone. I don't think we need to mess with it at all. So I can leave my 7 there, and then I can just multiply. So 3 times 7, I know that's 21 if I add my 0 to it. And so 210, it would be an estimation because I rounded up 5. So it's going to be quite a bit bigger than my actual answer, but they're fairly close, right? I know I overestimated. I know this answer is going to be a little bit bigger than what I got over here. Okay, go ahead and flip over to page 90. Let's talk through our virtual learning bridge. Okay. Miss Stockerton ordered 6 boxes of t-shirts with the school name on them. If you haven't picked up your t-shirt yet, will you guys please send me an email if you want it, if you haven't got it. They're great. They're cute. Okay, sorry. Miss Stockerton ordered 6 boxes of t-shirts with the school name on them. Each box contains 26 t-shirts. How many t-shirts did Miss Stockton order? So you can multiply using partial products. Remember, this is like our box method. That's what I called it earlier. You can write and add the partial products in any order. So we have our 20 and our 6, because this is the 26 t-shirts times the 6. So they did 20 times 6 to get 120. And then 6 times 6 to get 36. And then they added together 120 and 36. And they got 156. So they added together those partial products to get their answer. Okay, so another way, which we've shown on here to do multiplication, is to do that standard method with regrouping. And so they're starting with their 6 times 6, and they get 36. And then they do 2 times 6, which is 12, and they have to add those extra 3. So 12, 13, 14, 15. And we get 156. And that's the standard algorithm. Both ways work, right? But there's 2 different ways to do it on there. Let's try a guided practice problem. We are over on page 91. Use place value to explain each step in finding 2,746 times 3. Okay, so if we want to do it with the standard algorithm, and I'll probably just explain out loud for this because it would be sort of a process. We are going to multiply our ones place by our ones place first. So 3 times 6 is going to give me 18. I carry my 1 over because now that's worth a 10 in the tens place. And I put my 8 down below. 4 times 3, so now I'm taking this ones place times my tens place. So really what I'm doing here is 3 times 40 because it's going to go right in my tens place down here, even though it's just in our brain, we think, oh, 3 times 4. So 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 more is 13. So if there's a 3 in my tens place and my ones actually goes over to the hundreds place, now that's worth 100. So 3 times 7, really it's 700, is 21, plus 1 more is 22. So my 2 is in the hundred spot. Another 2 goes over to the thousands. So then 3 times 2 in my thousands would be 6, plus 2 more would be 7, 8,238. And so again, I just explained the place value as we were multiplying through it because I think a lot of times students can think, oh, I'm just taking 3 times 4. And while that's what you're multiplying, watch where you're putting your answer because you're really doing 3 times 40 to get 3 times 40 to get 120, and then we had that extra 10 carried over. And then that extra 100 carried over to there. So place value was our first unit, and man, we talk about it all the way throughout 5th grade. Okay, for 2 through 5, we are gonna find each product. Product, that's a great vocabulary word. It is the answer to a multiplication problem. Estimate to check if your answer is reasonable. So let's go ahead and start with this one. If you want to use box method, you might want another piece of scratch paper, but you can set it up with your 20 and your 3 and your 4 and start to work through it that way. I'm going to work through it standard method right here. So we have 23 times 4. So 4 times 3 is 12. I'm going to carry my 1 over and put my 2 down below. 4 times 2, well, that's 8, plus 1 more is 9. We get 92 there. Now, I might want to check, okay, am I close? So I would round 23 to about 20. I can keep my 4 where it's at. And so if I did 2 times 4, that's 8. Add my 0 in, 80, pretty close to 92, only 12 away. So that's a reasonable answer. Okay, we are going to try number 3, and then I am going to leave you with, actually, let's do number 4, and we'll do number 3. Sorry, changing my mind. And I'm going to leave you with number 4 to try on your own. So for number 3, if you want to use box method, what you might notice is we have a 3-digit number. So I would need to split my box up into 3 because we'll have 300, 70, and 8. And then this way we multiply by 2. So we'll have 300 times 2, 70 times 2, and then 8 times 2. And then you'd have to add those 3 numbers together. I'm gonna work through it with standard method right now. We have our 378 and our 2. And so I need to take my 2 times 8, which gives me 16. Carried that one over. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 more is 15. Carry that one over. And 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. Now we can check if our answer is reasonable by using rounding. So my 378, well, if I'm rounding to the nearest 100, I look at my 7 and that's gonna bump my 3 up 1 to be a 4, and I have 2 zeros after that. Then I have my 2. I think I can leave. When you have numbers that end in 0, it's easy to leave that second one alone. So 4 times 2 is 8, 0, 0. Well, I know I rounded up almost 25, right? Not exactly, but almost. And so I'm gonna have a higher estimated answer than exact answer, but they're still pretty close. It's a reasonable answer to be at 756. Okay, I want you to try number 4, and then I want you to also estimate. I would leave your 5 alone probably. Estimate the answer to make sure it's reasonable, and we will talk about it in group. All right, see ya.